Humanistic Therapy, Psychoanalysis and Humanistic Therapy, which we started previous time. Okay. So in a quick revision. So quickly we will revise what we took previous periods. We took the psychoanalysis and humanistic therapy. Do you see my PowerPoint, girls?
Yes.
Okay. We discussed what is psychoanalysis. Okay, and we said that always focus on definitions, girls. The psychoanalysis is a therapy aimed at making patients aware of their unconscious motives, why they act this way in their unconscious thoughts and feelings. Okay, and we said the father of psychology, Sigmund Freud, and his theory of personality. Then we discussed the insight, the apparent sudden realization of the solution of the problem. After sessions of psychoanalysis, the patient reaches the insight when he realizes the solution of the problem. Then we discussed how they treat patients through psychoanalysis. How the patient is treated through psychoanalysis. We took number one, free association. Okay, free association is the method to examine the unconscious. So the patient is instructed by the therapist in a way, okay, to show what is in his or her mind. Okay, then we reach the resistance. Resistance is the reluctance of patient either to reveal painful feelings when he unconsciously stops to tell what does he feel. This is resistance. Okay, so today we will continue. So we took the the first one in the psychoanalysis. We took the free association. Today we'll continue. After the free association, we will continue and we take, here is it. Okay, second part, we will take the dream analysis. Okay, dream analysis, as we said, the one who discovered the dream analysis or invented the dream analysis or thought of the dream analysis was Freud, Sigmund Freud. He believed that dreams express the unconscious thoughts and feelings inside of you. So when you sleep, your unconscious mind works. So he believed that dreams give you indication or give you an idea about what is inside of you, and you do not show it or you feel it, you are not aware of it. So because it is inside of you and you are not aware of it, it appears while you are asleep. Okay, so in a technique known as dream analysis, the psychoanalyst interprets the client's dream to find the unconscious thoughts and feelings in it. So it tells him, I dreamed of this and this and this, and then starts to analyze it. Each thing resembles something to show his fears, his thoughts. Freud believed that dreams contain manifest and latent content. Manifest content refers to what you remember about your dream. For instance, you recall seeing your house fall apart, for example, brick by brick, in last night's dream. This is the manifest content. This is what you see in your dream. The latent content refers to the hidden meanings represented symbolically in the dream that the therapist interprets from the manifest content. So manifest content, and as I said for you, we focus on definition, so I will underline it for you. Here, the manifest content refers to what you remember about your dream. I saw myself running and a beast behind me. I saw myself late for the exam. Does it happen with you guys?
Yeah, sometimes. Yes.
Yes. Till now. Till now, I dream of missing an exam. So the manifest content is what you see. The latent content is what is behind what you see. Symbolically in the dream that the therapist interprets from the manifest content. For example, a therapist might interpret a dream involving a deterioration house. So the manifest content is he saw his house falls brick by brick. The latent meaning is to mean that you are upset about current health problem or worried about your health. The interpretation of dreams is the real road to knowledge of unconscious activities of the mind. Because you are not aware of what is happening inside of you, it shows up while you are asleep. So dream analysis is a technique used by psychoanalysts to interpret the content of patients' dreams. So this is another method of psychoanalysis. Free association, then dream analysis. Why dream analysis is important? Because it makes you aware of your unconscious thoughts and feelings. Then we move to transference. Transference is a way, also a third way of psychoanalysis. Sooner or later, the analyst begins to appear in the patient's association and dreams. Why? Why the patient will get connected to the therapist, let's see, or the analyst. The patient may begin feeling toward the analyst the way she feels towards some other important figures in her life. This process is called transference. If the patient can recognize what's happening, transference may allow her to experience her true feelings toward the important person. What does it mean? Again, I'll say again. Often, instead of experiencing and understanding her feelings, the patient simply begins acting toward the therapist in the same way she used to act toward the important person, usually one of her parents. So if a girl has been raised in a house by a very strict father, okay? So, and a poor mother, she doesn't interfere, or a poor mother. When she grows up and she wants to, and she goes to an analyst or a therapist, by time she starts to transfer her doctor or her analyst into her father, the important figure in her life, the one that caused her traumas is her father. So she starts to wear, like dress her doctor, the cloth of her father. So she feels toward the doctor the same feelings of her father. So two things might happen. Number one, she might now, when you have feelings as a grown up towards someone and you look at him and you feel like you hate him and you are sick of his controlling ways, so she understands, this is the way I feel to my father. This is my unconscious mind. This is my inner feelings and thoughts towards the important figure in my life. So she starts to analyze together with the analyst. They start to analyze where is the problem till they reach that the problem is her father and his way of treating her. Or maybe the patient begins to act toward the therapist in some way she used to act toward the important person without feelings. Let's understand more. So the therapist always directs the patient back to herself. Be awake. The patient, the therapist, not by saying be awake, he alerts her. I am a psychiatrist. I'm not your father. I'm not the one that you have suffered from. The therapist may ask, for example, what do you see when you imagine my face? So when she says, I feel angry, He tries to show her that you do not feel angry because of me. You feel angry for the unpleasant figure in your life. So he starts to take it step by step. So he asks her, what does this make you think of? So gradually it becomes clear to both the patient and the therapist that the patient is reacting to the neutral therapist. He is neutral. She doesn't hate the therapist. How would she? Why would she hate the therapist? She dressed him. She dressed him the cloth of the important figure in her life that used to hurt her, and she was really angry of him, unconsciously angry at her father. She is unconsciously angry at her father. So when she dresses her therapist, the dress of her father, she realizes her feelings, her true feelings and thoughts toward her father. So they can analyze together that the problem in the important figure is her father. So this is transference. When she moves or she addresses the feelings of her father towards the patient. Not only the father, maybe the unpleasant figure in her life was her mother, maybe it was her teacher. Are you with me, grade 12? So we took free association, dream analysis, transference here. Like in this picture, when she was young, her mother used to do not have time for her. Her mother used not to have time for her. Okay? So when she grows up, she thinks that the doctor in front of her is her mother. So she says to herself, I really want to come in next week. I bet she will think I'm too needy. Because she was rejected when she was a child by her mother. She didn't have time. You understand me, Grace? When she was young, she didn't understand. Her mother didn't have time for her. So she grows up and she knows no one has time for me. And not only Grace dressing her mother to the doctor, even when you fall in love or you get married or you find your second partner or your partner, your soul partner, when you have a bad relationship with one of your parents that affected you that much, when you get to know the beloved one, you dress him the same dress of your father. So if your father used to treat you in a way, you expect that your spouse treats you the same way. Because this is the relationship you have been raised on. This is the way you understood life, because we understand life since we were young. We start understanding life since we are young. We form our vision to the world. Our vision to the world, we form it, we started it since we were 2 years old. It's like the hard disk of the computer. You save and you save and you save, you save, you save. So when you grow up, you are the hard disk, a full hard disk, full of what? Full of what? Full of those bad experiences with the important figure in your life. So when you are full of these bad experiences, this is the way, you know what? It's like you like wearing an eyeglasses. So these eyeglasses are your experiments or your past with the important figure. So this is your experience. These are your years of how you were treated, and then you wear it, put it on. This is the way you see life. You see life through your experiences. That's why you will act differently than your friend, because her eyeglasses is different than yours. Her experiment is different than yours. Her lifestyle is different than yours. How she was raised is different than yours. So this is what we say, girls, that you dress the person. We all do this, not only you, not a person. We all do this when we grow up. If we have suffered when we were young with an important figure in our lives, we dress it to the next important figure in our lives. Okay? So when you grow up, you know, and you understand how to differentiate, how to tell yourself this is not your mother, the one who was never never free for you. This is not your father, the one who used to hit you or treat you badly. Okay? And I'm not talking about you, I'm talking about the traumas. Trauma is something very bad happens to you, and okay, suddenly of an important figure in your life. You understand, girls, or not?
Yes.
So we took the dream analysis and now we take the transference. So by understanding transference, the patient becomes aware of hidden feelings and motivations. She may begin to understand, for example, the roots of the trouble with her boss at work. Yes, why she hates her boss, because her boss reminds her of the important figure in her life. So she will start hate the boss, she will start hate the therapist. So she starts to hate anyone, any person in authority, in front of her, she hates him, she feels angry. Why she feels angry toward this authority? Because she dressed him, the dress of her, the important figure in her life. The same way she saw her parents when she was a child. The purpose of psychoanalysis is to show the role of unconscious and to provide insight for the client. So when the client or the patient understands, okay, when he understands, he solves. Because the most important part in the problem is to understand the problem, is to know, is to realize. Even in diseases, the most important part is to realize what is the disease in order to solve it. And then comes a long process of solving. So, as we said, this type of classic sick mind analysis, however, is not for everyone. It requires an average of 600 sessions and years of meetings with psychoanalysts. Psychoanalysis changed with patients' disorders and prevailing culture. So this is the transference. Then again, the definition, it's a process experienced by the patient or feeling toward an analyst or therapist way he or she feels or felt towards some other important figure in his or her life. So they give the analyst or the therapist the same feelings they feel toward the important figure in their lives. So now, what is after the interference with the dream analysis? Interference, humanistic therapy. What is humanistic therapy? The goal of humanistic therapy is to help people fulfill their human potential. Humanistic therapy. So the section is divided into psychoanalysis and humanistic therapy. Psychoanalysis is free association, dream analysis, interference. Humanistic therapy is the goal of humanistic therapy is to help people fulfill their human potential. Humanistic psychology has given rise to several approaches to psychotherapy, known collectively as client-centered therapy. So what is humanistic therapy and what is client-centered therapy? Humanistic therapy or humanistic psychologists stress the actualizations of one's unique potentials through personal responsibility, freedom of choice, and authentic relationships. So let's underline it, through personal responsibility. So this is the triangle, girls. This is the triangle of humanistic therapy. Personal responsibility, freedom of choice, authentic relationships. I can show it to you here. Okay, we will talk more on this graph. So we go back here. Are you with me?
Yes, miss. Yes.
So humanistic therapy, client-centered therapy. When the patient, let's more here, stresses the actualizations of one's unique potentials. So the psychiatrist trusts in the patient's personal responsibility, freedom of choice, authentic relationships. Reflects the beliefs that the client and the therapist are partners in the therapy. So the patient understands, and he is not here called patient, he is called the client. So the client, both the client and the therapist, the both of them, they understand that the healing process, okay, the healing process depends on the two sides of the therapy, the therapist and the client. This therapy depends on the person's own motivations toward growth and self-actualization. The patient or the client, so is not 100% patient. He is not a patient, he is a client. Maybe he needs help in order how to improve himself or heal the process or heal the traumas of his important figure. So the client is aware, okay, and he wants to grow, okay. The use of the term person or client instead of patient gives one an insight into the reasoning behind Roger's method, because the one who invented this, the client-centered therapy, his name is Roger or Roger. The patient here may suggest inferiority or passivity, whereas person or client implies an equal relationship between the therapist and the individual seeking help. So when the therapist calls him a patient, the patient depends or relies on the therapist. You have the key of changing my life. But when the therapist calls him a client, so we are equal in this process. In your healing process, we are equal. We have the same rules. We have the same responsibilities in your healing process. So you will not only sit in front of me and I take the rule of healing. You know, we both take it because you are aware of your self-actualization and growth. Equal relationship reflects three therapeutic components: positive regard, empathy, and genuineness. Empathy, positive regard, genuineness. What is it? Positive regards refers to the therapist's ability to demonstrate caring and respect for the client. So the therapist respects and cares about the client. Empathy is the ability to understand what the client is feeling. Empathy, the psychiatrist should know or understand the feelings of the client. The genuineness refers to the therapist's ability to act toward the client in a real and non-defensively manner. Positive regard, the therapist's ability to demonstrate care and respect the client. Respect the client and care about the client. Empathy, to understand how the client feels. Genuineness is to refer to the therapist's ability to act toward the client. Genuineness. So vision, desire, belief, acceptance, intention, and action from the therapist toward the client. He cares, he respects the therapist, he understands and feels how the client feels, he has an ability to deal and act toward the client. Client-centered therapy focuses on the role of the client rather than the therapist as a key of the healing process. Rogers believed that each person experiences the world differently and knows his or her experiences best. So each client knows his eyeglasses. Maybe he is not aware of them. He is not aware of what happens inside him, but he is aware of his father's insults, of his mother's not being free for him, of his teachers' bad influence. Okay, and I'm here giving bad examples. Of course, I respect all mothers and fathers. I'm here giving bad examples of those who suffer of someone in their lives. So these eyeglasses are different. Okay. So the client here, in order, according to Roger, as we said, the doctor or the philosopher who invented it, he is the one who is totally aware of what has happened to him. Client-centered therapists assume that people are basically good and they are capable of handling their own lives, but they just want to be guided. Psychological problems arise when the true self becomes lost. So when he is not a patient, he is a client, and he can't get his true self. He can't understand his true self. So the individual comes to view the self according to the standards of others. How others used to look at me. If my parents used to respect me, I will feel respected of everyone else. If they used to disrespect me, I will never ever in my life feel respected, because these are the standards of my life. These are the standards of others, how they looked at me. So I have to change it. When I grow up, I have to change it and understand that I am the one who respects myself and forces others to respect me. I do not wait others to give me the standards. I gave them the standards because I am the one who should have control on my life. Not they have control on my life. I am the one to control my life up onto my standards. So this needs a healing process, girls. So here we are not dealing with a patient who needs medicine. Here we are dealing with a person or a client or a human who needs help to guide, someone to guide the way. Someone to understand that he is the one to control his life. And he has to heal what has happened to him. Heal it. That's why it's called the healing process. One of the goals of therapy is to help the person recognize his or her strength and confidence. You are strong. You are confident enough, because some protective parents, when they love their child so much, they protect him. So don't do anything. Just don't fight. Don't go, don't carry. They fear a lot. They are afraid a lot, and they fear on their child. They love him so much, so they try to protect him. So when he grows up, he finds himself helpless. He can't do anything without them. They used to guide him, they used to help him, they used to protect him. So here he needs help. So this is not a disease. He needs help to show and realize, someone to show him and make him realize the road, to make him aware of his inner strength. You are strong, you can do it. And make him aware of his confidence. So thereby learning to be true to his or her own standards and ideas about how to live effectively. He just needs the line. He needs a line to someone to help him through the way. Which is now, there's lots of life coaches. There is a new job has been created with the understanding of psychology. It's called life coach. He is not a doctor. He doesn't prescribe medicines. He is a life coach. He guides you. But don't, yani, it is a piece of advice to you. Don't run after these coaches, because sometimes they say what we can say, commercial words like stay away of what hurts you, and this, as we can say them, Facebook post. Anyone writes any post, And people who read this post take it as a rule of life. The one that, for example, that if you have a fight with your friends, so you say to yourself, I will never ever trust her again. And then these old posts on Facebook, they talk about that, never trust a man, never trust someone again. But sometimes people make mistakes, and we do mistakes, and we make mistakes too. So it is important to give another one a second chance. Okay? So don't trust those Facebook posts, and don't trust anyone who calls himself, I am a life coach, I am a life coach. No. Be selective in choosing what to read and what to convince your mind of or with. Okay? In techniques of client-centered therapy, in the course of an interview, the client is encouraged to speak freely about anything that troubles him. The topics discussed are entirely up to the client. So the client is the one to pick what do you want to talk about. So he says, I have a problem about that and that and that. This method is called non-directive therapy because the therapist does not direct it. The therapist listens and encourages conversation but tries to avoid giving opinions. He doesn't give opinions. He just listens. He just listens here. So this is the first way, non-directive therapy. I didn't underline it. Non-directive therapy. Non-directive therapy, the client talks. He is the one who chooses the topics without any help of the therapist. The therapist just encourages him to keep the conversation going. Then active listening. Active listening, here it's empathetic, and we said empathetic is when you deal with it. Empathetic is when empathetic listening, a listener acknowledges the states and clarifies the speaker's thoughts and concerns. So at the beginning, non-direct therapy is I leave the client, if I am a therapist, I leave the client to do all the talking freely without controlling anything. Then he starts to active listening. Listening is to empathetic listening. Now I know, as a therapist, I know more about the client, so I can interfere. I can clarify. I can show. I can guide. Clarifies his thoughts and concerns. So when he says something, I say, I think you mean to say, and I show him what did he mean to say. Unconditional positive regard. Unconditional positive regard is a therapist's consistent expression of the patient here. A therapist's consistent expression of acceptance of the patient, no matter what the patient says or does. Unconditional positive regard. Whatever you do, I am with you. Whatever you say, I am with you. I do not judge him. So, free association. Patient says whatever comes in their minds. Dream analysis. Patient relates a dream to be analyzed by the therapist. Psychoanalytic therapy by Sigmund Freud. Okay? Here, girls, the definitions or the important terms we took: the psychoanalysis, the insight psychoanalysis, the way therapists deal with patients, insight when they reach a solution, free association when the patient sits and he talks freely about anything in his life, resistance when his unconscious mind stops him of telling and showing what does he feel. The dream analysis is how to analyze the dream to figure or to get the inner or the unconscious thoughts and feelings. Transference is when you dress the doctor, the patient dresses the doctor, the dress of the important figure in his life. Humanistic therapy is when he treats him like client-centered therapy, when he is not a patient, when he is a client. By non-directive therapy, when the therapist sits and hears without interacting, and active listening, when he have empathy and he can show him and guide him. An unconditional positive regard is that he accepts him no matter what happens. This is the whole chapter, girls. You understood it?
Yes, understood. Yeah.
Are you sure, girls? You understand it? It is good. It is a way of the exam. Would it be any beneficial in your lives, Chris? Did it add anything to you, to your understanding to the word? A way of exam.
Yes, it did.
When you grow up, you will appreciate this subject more and more. So try to remember that. Yeah. Once the teacher said that and that.
Yes.
I hope, girls. Okay, we finished, and I see you next week, inshallah. Have a nice day.
Thank you. You too. Bye.